For the better part of 15 years, I spent most of my Saturday mornings on my knees in the garden. Knee pads, gloves, a bucket beside me, pulling weeds one by one, while my coffee went cold on the porch step. I thought that was just what gardening was. You plant things, weeds show up, you pull them, they come back. That was the deal. It was not until I was in my late 50s that a neighbor 2 streets over, Ruth, who had the most effortlessly beautiful yard on the block, said something that stopped me completely. She said, "Eleanor, I have not pulled a weed in 6 years." And when I walked around her property, I understood exactly why. Every square foot of bare ground had been replaced with something that was already doing the work. Dense, spreading, living plants that had made it physically impossible for weeds to get a foothold. That afternoon changed the way I think about gardening permanently. Today, I am sharing 9 ground cover plants that suppress weeds the way Ruth's yard does. Not by fighting them, but by outcompeting them. And I want you to stay with me because number 7 is the one most people have never heard of, and it solves the single hardest problem in the American home landscape, that dry, shaded dead zone under your mature oak or maple where nothing seems to grow. Before we get into the list, drop your U.S. state or your USDA hardiness zone in the comments right now. I read every single one, and it genuinely helps me make content specific to your climate. Let us get started. Number 1, Creeping Thyme. I wish someone had handed me a packet of creeping thyme seeds when I was 30 years old and explained what I am about to explain to you, because this plant does something that most ground covers simply do not. Most weed-suppressing plants work by blocking light. They grow dense enough that weed seeds in the soil below never receive the sunlight they need to germinate. That is effective, and several plants on this list do exactly that. But creeping thyme takes it a step further. The roots and foliage continuously release natural volatile compounds into the surrounding soil that actively inhibit the germination of competing weed seeds. It is not just sitting on top of the problem, it is chemically discouraging weeds from showing up at all. What this means practically is that you plant it once and it does that job every single season without you touching it. No bag of pre-emergent herbicide to reapply every 6 weeks. No wondering whether it is safe for children to play on. You plant it once and it works. Creeping thyme forms a low mat, 2 to 3 inches tall, that spreads outward to fill gaps and handles light foot traffic beautifully, perfect between stepping stones, along pathways, or at the edges of garden beds. In summer, it blooms with small pink to purple flowers that bees go absolutely wild for. That is a bonus you did not even pay for. Hardy in zones 4 through 9, which covers the vast majority of the continental United States. Planted in full sun and lean soil. Do not amend, do not fertilize. Poor soil is where this plant spreads fastest and knits most tightly. Stop trying to baby it. Neglect is the technique. Number 2, Bugleweed. Everything I just told you about creeping thyme applies beautifully to sunny spots. But if you have shade, and most American homeowners have at least some shade, you need a different answer. Bugleweed is that answer, and it is one of the most underrated plants in the entire ground cover category. Bugleweed spreads via horizontal runners that creep along the surface, root wherever they touch down, and send up new rosettes of foliage. Those rosettes send out more runners, which root again. The result is a carpet so dense that weed seeds blow in and simply sit on top of the leaves with nowhere to germinate. Physical suppression at its most complete. It handles partial to full shade, directly under trees, along north-facing foundations, anywhere full sun plants refuse to grow, and bare dirt becomes a weed magnet every spring. Hardy in zones 3 through 9. The cultivar black scallop has deep, almost chocolate purple foliage with bright blue flower spikes in late spring that are genuinely stunning. Chocolate chip is a miniature variety, extremely tidy, ideal for tight spaces. Burgundy Glow features a mix of green, white, and burgundy that looks like a deliberate design decision. Plant in spring or fall, water through the first season, and then walk away. The one thing to keep in mind, give it a defined edge and keep it away from your lawn. It will creep into grass if it has the opportunity. Use it inside established bed edges, and it will do exactly what you need indefinitely. Number 3, Pachysandra. If you have a spot under mature trees where the grass gave up years ago, where you throw mulch down every spring and weeds find it anyway, that spot has a specific solution. Japanese spurge. Pachysandra spreads through underground root structures that travel beneath the soil surface and send up new shoots as they go, creating a seamless mat of glossy dark green foliage that fills in edge to edge without gaps or bare patches. Once established, it looks like a professional landscaper came in and installed something permanent, and it operates on 2 levels at once. First, the dense canopy of broad foliage completely blocks light from reaching the soil surface. Annual weed seeds that blow in on the wind every year require light to germinate. Remove the light and you remove their ability to sprout. Second, it releases compounds from its root system that actively reduce weed emergence at the biochemical level. 2 mechanisms running simultaneously from one planting thrives in partial to full shade. Hardy in zones 4 through 8. The variety green carpet is particularly dense. Space plants 6 to 8 inches apart. Water the first season and leave it alone. One honest thing I want to tell you, Pachysandra is slow in year 1. If you plant it in May and check in August and it has not raced across the bed, that is normal and expected. It is spending that first season establishing its root network underground. Year 2, you will see vigorous above-ground spread begin. Year 3, you will have coverage that looks like it was always there. Do not replace it, do not move it, do not fertilize it into faster action. Give it the time it is asking for, and it will repay you for decades. Number 4, creeping phlox. If you have a slope in your yard, you already know exactly what I am about to describe. You cannot mow it safely. Mulch washes down every time it rains. Weeds love it because bare, disturbed soil on an incline is prime territory for opportunistic plants. The solution is not more herbicide, it is creeping phlox. Creeping phlox maintains dense needle-like foliage year-round, including winter, when most plants disappear and slopes become fully exposed. The mat persists through January, holding soil and denying space to weeds, even when everything around it has gone dormant. Combine that with its tolerance for poor, dry, fully exposed conditions with 0 fertilizer, and you have the best answer for sun-baked slope situations that defeat everything else you have tried. And in spring, for 3 to 4 weeks, creeping phlox puts on a flower display that has to be seen to be believed. A cascade of pink, white, lavender, or magenta blooms so dense they completely hide the foliage beneath them. Then the flowers fade, the tight mat returns, and the plant asks absolutely nothing from you for the rest of the year. Hardy in zones 3 through 9. Emerald blue gives rich lavender blue flowers and exceptional foliage density. Scarlet flame delivers intense magenta you can see from 3 houses down. Space plants 18 inches apart. They fill in completely within 2 seasons. After that, 1 light trim after flowering. That is your entire annual maintenance commitment. If you are still watching and you have not subscribed yet, please do it now. I post content specifically designed to stop the cycle of spending money every spring on things that do not last. Hit that subscribe button and drop your U.S. state in the comments. I read every single one. Number 5, sweet woodruff. Most people walk right past this one at the nursery without ever understanding what it does. That is a genuine missed opportunity. Sweet woodruff is a fragrant, shade-loving perennial that forms dense mats in moist, woodland-type conditions. The foliage, whorled, star-shaped, bright green, makes shaded beds look intentional and designed rather than neglected. It smells like fresh-cut hay, particularly after rain. The first time you brush past it unexpectedly, it is a genuinely lovely surprise. What makes it exceptional for weed suppression is that it works on multiple fronts simultaneously. The dense canopy excludes light. The mat retains moisture at the soil surface. And the plant contains compounds in its tissue that have a suppressive effect on the germination of competing seeds in the surrounding soil. It grows best in partial to full shade with consistently moist, loamy soil. The ideal solution for shaded north or east-facing areas with richer woodland-type conditions where other shade plants might dry out or struggle. In spring, small, delicate white flowers appear that are genuinely charming. Hardy in zones 4 through 8. The one condition it does not tolerate is prolonged drought or direct summer sun. Respect those limits, and it will reward you completely. Number 6, low-growing sedum. Every yard has at least one genuinely harsh spot, the dry, rocky strip along the south-facing side of the driveway. The gravelly patch by the mailbox where heat radiates off the pavement all afternoon. The raised area where even the weeds seem to be struggling. Most people look at those spots and see a problem. I want you to look at them and see the exact conditions where low-growing sedum dominates. Sedum, the ground-covering stone crop varieties, are succulent perennials that store water in their thick, fleshy leaves and are adapted specifically to hot, dry, low-nutrient conditions. Give them rich, moist soil and they become prone to rot and sprawl. Give them the harsh, lean situation that defeats everything else and they spread into a tight, dense, weed-suppressing mat of incredible texture and color. The mat sedum forms is so dense and the soil conditions underneath it stay so dry and sun-exposed that annual weeds simply cannot establish. The sedum monopolizes the environmental conditions, takes the water, the space, roots into every available surface, and once it is established, the coverage is effectively permanent. Dragon's blood produces deep red bronze foliage and vivid red flowers, and is one of the most vigorous spreading sedums available. Gold moss sedum creates a bright green mossy carpet that turns yellow in summer bloom. Angelina gives you golden chartreuse to orange foliage depending on the season. Most low-growing sedums are hardy in zones 3 through 9. Full sun, lean soil, water only during establishment. After that, do nothing. With this plant, neglect is not a mistake. Neglect is the correct growing technique. Number 7, dead nettle. This is the one I promised you at the start. The solution for dry, difficult shade under mature trees where almost nothing grows successfully. Let me be straightforward about why that spot is so hard. Mature trees compete aggressively for soil moisture. Their root systems extend well beyond the canopy drip line, outcompeting almost any plant you put under them for water during dry periods. The shade in midsummer under a large, fully leafed canopy can be quite deep. The soil is often compacted, dry, and partially depleted. You are asking a ground cover to handle drought stress, deep shade, and root competition all at once. Most plants cannot manage all three simultaneously. Dead nettle manages all three. It is one of the few ornamental ground covers that genuinely performs in dry shade, under trees without significant supplemental watering once established. The foliage is beautiful. Silver and green variegated patterns that brighten a dark, difficult area dramatically. In spring, it produces spikes of pink, white, or purple flowers that add real seasonal color, and it spreads quickly by above-ground runners to form a dense mat that gives weeds no foothold. White Nancy has nearly entirely silver foliage with white flowers and is one of the most dramatically beautiful ground covers you can plant in deep shade. Beacon Silver produces pink lavender flowers. Pink Pewter has silver leaves with shell pink flowers and is particularly vigorous. Hardy in zones 3 through 8, partial to full shade, space plants about 12 inches apart, one season of establishment watering, and then walk away. In those dry, shaded spots where weeds have been winning by default, this plant changes the situation permanently. Number 8, big root geranium. When I say geranium, I need you to immediately forget the annual red flowers in pots that you buy every May and throw away every October. Big root geranium is an entirely different plant, and it suppresses weeds through two independent mechanisms running at the same time. The first is physical. Big root geranium develops a dense, spreading network of thick roots just below the soil surface. As that network expands outward, it physically displaces and crowds out competing plant roots. You are not just covering the surface, you are occupying the root zone, claiming the territory underground as thoroughly as above it. The second is chemical. The foliage and roots produce powerful, volatile, aromatic oils that you can smell when you brush against the leaves. These compounds inhibit the germination of weed seeds in the surrounding soil, adding a layer of suppression on top of the physical root competition. Two independent weed control strategies from one plant. The foliage is semi-evergreen to evergreen in milder climates, hardy in zones 5 through 8. In spring, attractive pink to magenta flowers rise above the foliage. Ingerson's variety spreads particularly aggressively, which is exactly what you want in a ground cover. Bevan's variety produces rich magenta pink flowers and outstanding vigor, sun to partial shade, average to dry soil once established. Water the first season to establish those roots, and then step back. And every time you walk past it and catch that aromatic scent from the leaves, you will feel like you made a genuinely smart decision. Number 9, lily turf. I want to end this list with a plant that solves a frustration I hear from homeowners constantly. Wildly different conditions in different parts of the same yard. Full sun on the south side, deep shade on the north, dry soil under the eaves, moist soil in the low spots. If you want one plant that handles the full spectrum of those conditions and still provides reliable weed suppression across all of them, lily turf is the answer. Lily turf is a grass-like perennial, though not a true grass, that forms dense, arching mounds of dark green strap-like leaves that weave together as the plants spread, creating coverage that weeds find genuinely difficult to penetrate. It handles full sun to heavy shade, drought to moderate moisture, and once established, the maintenance requirement essentially drops to zero. Creeping lily turf spreads via underground runners and fills in aggressively. Excellent for large areas under trees or on slopes where you need coverage to close quickly. Big blue lily turf forms slower spreading clumping mounds, better for smaller defined beds or edging situations. Both produce attractive purple flower spikes in late summer. Silver dragon has white striped foliage that is outstanding in shaded areas, hardy in zones 5 through 10 for most varieties, deer resistant, drought tolerant once established. One plant, one dependable answer for a yard with conditions that vary from one corner to the next. 9 plants, 9 permanent solutions to the problem of bare soil that weeds will always find. Before you plant any of them, I want to give you one more piece of information that most people skip, and it is the single most common mistake I see costing gardeners an entire growing season. Do not plant ground covers directly into an area that already has established perennial weed roots. Bindweed, creeping Charlie, ground ivy, quackgrass. Those weeds have a root system already ahead of your new plants. During establishment, when your ground covers are most vulnerable, they will win. Prepare the site first. Lay overlapping sections of plain cardboard directly on the soil over the weeds. Wet it thoroughly and cover with 3 to 4 inches of wood chip mulch. The cardboard smothers existing weeds completely and decomposes within 1 season, adding organic matter to your soil as it goes. Plant directly through it by cutting an X, folding back the flaps, planting and folding the cardboard back around the stem. Start your plants with the clearest possible seed bed. Choose the right plant for your actual conditions, and then let it do the work. That is the whole approach. No more fighting weeds every weekend. No more bags of pre-emergent. No more kneeling in the August heat when you have better things to do. Leave me a comment and tell me which plant on this list you are putting in the ground first. And make sure your U.S. state or hardiness zone is in that comment. It helps me make every video more specific and more useful to where you are actually gardening. Until next time, happy gardening. Take care of yourselves and take care of those beautiful gardens of yours.